Well, going on a family vacation, thinking of renting out part of your home for extra income? Or maybe you're selling your house and it's sitting empty. Well, you better think again. Across the country, criminals are staking claim to the homes of hardworking Americans, paying no rent, running up utility bills, and in some cases causing tens of thousands of dollars in damages. I'm talking about squatters. Now, you may think this is isolated, but there are 16 million homes vacant at any one time in this country, and 4.4 million of them are currently occupied by squatters. And once the intruders are in their new home, there is no limit to what they will do. In Atlanta, one squatter ran an illegal strip club on the weekends and drag raced in the neighborhood, ultimately having to be removed by a SWAT team. When confronted by a property's legal owner or police, trespassers use the law in their favor, buying them time before being forced to leave by the courts. And in the case of serial squatters, once they're evicted, they just move down the block and go into a new location. And next time, it could be yours. Now, my first guest, Patty, learned the hard way. Take a look.
I bought 2 properties with a business partner. After a year, one of the renters moved out. When I was sending a handyman over, we discovered pit bulls on the porch. Then out of the front door, one of the squatters came out. She told me that she had rented the home. I told her, I'm afraid that you can't stay here. At that point, her whole demeanor changed, and she began to get a little bit belligerent.
You're gonna vacate?
Yeah.
Oh no, of course, I'm not gonna vacate. I'm gonna let him investigate and do what he does, and once you find out I'm not fraud, then you can take the next step for this phone.
I'm not gonna debate you. You can go ahead and get ready for it.
You can come back later. You can come back later. Matter of fact, I will call other people here as well, because I don't like how this is going.
On day 2, I drove by and I saw that the front door was wide open. Then the squatters came out of the back room.
Your police report states this is under investigation. So with that being said, we don't have to leave anything until the police comes back and tell us what would be the
I have every
decision.
right to be in this house.
You don't have every right to be in the house at all.
I do, ma'am.
You do not.
I was astonished and horrified. They threw bricks at my car. They threw human feces at me. They broke windows in the house. They destroyed all of the walls in the house.
You don't have every right to be in the house at all.
I do, ma'am.
You do not. You do not, because according to my lease, me and my girlfriend owns the house.
If you
I'm not touching you, my
You are touching me.
And this lady is touching me. We're blocking you from coming in the house.
You are.
Damn it.
It's just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, and it's happening all over.
It is. Now, Patty, you bought this as an investment. You're going to fund retirement with this. You're out working hard-earned money to make a smart investment. And so then you sold the house, right?
I had an offer and accepted it, and I went over there to have a handyman do a little bit of work, and they discovered 14 pit bulls and a mother on the front porch. And as I was walking around the back door to get in and investigate, it dawned on me, don't do this. I could be putting myself in danger.
Right. A very nice home.
It was a wonderful home in a great street.
How quickly did they seize on this property and move in?
The home had been vacant about 2 weeks. It had had a number of home showings, and I didn't really have any concept that I was at risk with having that house, posted for sale.
Were they one of the showings? How did they get in?
No, they sawed off the realtor lock, and then within about 30, 45 seconds, they can drill out the front door, replace it with their own, and now they have a key to the property.
Okay, now how is that not breaking and entering?
Well, the laws err on the side of if someone claims and has paperwork that says that they are, quote, a tenant, so they can simply have a fraudulent lease that they can download off the internet.
Okay, but once that's determined to be fraudulent, then how is that not breaking and entering? They sawed off a lock and got in. That's breaking and entering.
Well, right now, the laws do not do not qualify squatters in any way in the criminal court system. Once I post that they can be evicted, they have, by law, up to 24 hours to vacate that property. So theoretically, if police were posted outside the home for those 24 hours, then they could have walked into the hands of justice, but of course that doesn't happen, so they just scoot off to the next target.
Okay, but excuse me for being commonsensical, but did they break the lock?
Yes.
And then enter the home?
They did. We tried to push this up to the state's attorney in Florida, and the state's attorney's office replied, "We don't really know who did it, so we're not going to prosecute the case."
Who told you this? This was the Attorney
state's
General?
attorney office.
State's attorney. And is that an elected position in Florida?
I don't know.
If you're watching in Florida, you might want to find out if that's an elected position. Because I think they're elected to enforce the law. I'm pretty sure. And if...
You are commonsensical, aren't you?
Well, I'm just asking. I mean, so then they proceeded to threaten you and actually assault you.
They did. They physically assaulted me.
We actually have a little piece of tape of that. Let's take a look.
I knew that they were doing a lot of damage inside the house. I went over and saw the squatters outside.
So you must want me to take this and break your phone, because I don't think you want me to. No, give me this.
Back up,
Because he
back
shouldn't
up,
have
babe,
came here
back
with this,
up.
and maybe he wouldn't have
Can
came
y'all
here.
please get away? Call the police.
Inside the house, they actually put you against the wall and put their forearm across your neck.
That's right.
Okay.
And then I was attempting to record them. They had stolen my can of pepper spray from my hand, and then my phone was knocked out of my hand, and they physically pushed me with a good deal of force out the front door, and I fell onto the porch, and then they slammed the door. But here's the kicker. The police showed up, and the officer said, "I should arrest you because they have the right to privacy."
Okay, now, again, just call me old-fashioned, but assault and battery, if they violate you with intent to harm, in Florida, isn't that against the law?
It's against the law, but I was on their property at that
I
point.
don't care if you're in their church at their wedding. If they beat the shit out of you, that's a bad thing. Right?
Well, the police just don't have the appetite right now because they have been, I think, really encouraged to err on the side of renters' rights.
And again, I'm just a stickler for language, but renters pay rent.
Rent.
Okay, and how much rent did they pay you?
$0.
Yeah. Yeah, and squatters don't pay squat. Okay. When we come back, Patty says she had to wait 20 days for a judge to even hear her case. Meanwhile, these squatters had a sledgehammer party to destroy her house, and there was nothing she could do to stop them. We'll talk about that when we come back. Homeowners, when's the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles, and your equity is the target. Criminals forge your signature, and just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Phil at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you'll get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Phil.
Well, let the police tell us we have a legal lease. So go home to the policeman. He don't know what's going on, and he needs to investigate.
Right.
So that's what I'm waiting on, investigation. Because I'm not leaving somewhere where I put my money in. So unless you have at least the minimum of $2,000 or at least $2,500, I'm not going anywhere. until the police tells me I have.
Why would I pay you something?
Well, Patty, that's shocking here. She's extorting money.
That's their game, absolutely. They extort the property to live on, first of all, by taking advantage of the weak laws. And then secondly, they know that many homeowners will fork out $2,500, $25,000 or more just to get them out of the house, particularly in states where it might take 2 or 3 years to meander through the civil court system.
So she's saying, give me some money here, $2,500, and maybe we'll leave.
To be honest, looking back on it, that's exactly what I should have done, because that happened a week or so into the whole ordeal. But I just had my value system, and I certainly wasn't going to fork over $2,500. I just stroked a check for $5,000 to an attorney to help me with this, and I'd lost a home sale, and I was losing potential rental income if the house wasn't sold. And so, to me, is why do I keep throwing good money after bad? But that's what I should have done.
Yeah, well, there's a whole name for it in the squatter world. They call it cash for keys.
That's right.
You want the keys? Give me some cash, and
That's
I'll
right.
give them to you. And sometimes that's the cheapest way out. It doesn't mean that it's the sensible way out.
They weren't budging. They knew the system better than most attorneys, and certainly the average person knows.
Now, your attorney sent a summons 4 days later, but it's hard to serve them because they don't answer the door, right?
That's right. Eventually, they were given the summons, and then it takes 20 days, as you noted, a minimum of 20 days to go through the civil court system so that the judge can hear the case with all of the evidence. But 20 days, it doesn't happen in that time period.
No, that's in the perfect world. That's if you're first in line and everything works right and the wheels of justice are turning and
That's right.
all that. In the meantime, they're having a sledgehammer party in your house.
Doing drugs, bringing random people over. I mean, sometimes there were 10 to 12 people there. They were harassing the neighbors. They stole appliances and sold them.
How much damage do you estimate was done to the house?
Dr. Phil, they did $40,000 worth of damage. I mean, that house was pristine when it was on the market. And I had just had everything repainted, recarpeted, new appliances. It was turnkey and all landscaped and all. And they just destroyed it. When I walked in, there were maggots everywhere from garbage and human waste that they had left. There were eggs thrown, mattresses, and their random goods that they had left.
Do you have any theory as to their motive for doing that kind of thing?
They were simply getting me back. In my experience, now there's no data here, and I think that universities need to really look at this to see the causalities of squatters and what the motivation is, because we've got to better understand this pandemic of squatting. But in my personal experience and others that I've spoken to, these are typically not unhoused individuals looking for a shelter over their head. That's a little bit of a horse of a different color, so to speak. The vast majority that I have experience with are simply entitled people that know that the law is on their side and they are working the system. And I'm telling you, it's only getting worse. And violence is happening because the laws are not there to protect the lawful homeowners. This country was founded on the right of property ownership. It was founded on the right to access things that you own. And in this world right now, in every state in the union, the laws are written to protect the unlawful over the lawful, over people like me that have 1 or 2 properties that are just trying to make a little bit of a living for my retirement. I pay taxes, I kept the yard up, I was a good neighbor. This was in my own neighborhood.
Yeah. This isn't someone that is working hard and can't make ends meet. and they couldn't make the rent for 30 days. That's not what we're talking about.
Well,
here.
let me tell you this. So when they moved out and I was over there cleaning up, I found a receipt. And on that receipt was a budget for a 2-day weekend vacation that my squatters were vacationing. And it was a 2-day vacation, and they had the good sense to write a budget, which I really commend them for. And on that budget was $300+ for a hotel, a couple of $100 for a rental car, and $230 for weed. So they had a nice amount of cash in their pocket that they could have been using to pay rent, but they were living their best life.
Well, they might have run out of weed if they'd paid rent, so. All right, next, 2 brothers who say they had squatters who actually left an animal corpse on their property. And the sad part is, that's not the worst thing they've seen. We'll meet them after the break. I used to sleep terribly, but thankfully I found Beam's Dream Powder, a science-backed, healthy nighttime blend that's packed with ingredients shown to improve sleep. Plus, Beam is founded in America and run by people who share our values like hard work and integrity. Their Dream Powder is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. Beam's already improved over 17.5 million nights of sleep, helping people wake up and feel their best. Here's the deal. Beam's giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off so you can try their best-selling Dream Powder. Visit shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil at checkout for up to 40% off. That's shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil. Code Dr. Phil for up to 40% off. Support an American company. Invest in yourself and get your best sleep tonight. Nick and Tony call themselves the Sicilian Brothers and have been flipping houses here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 20 years. They went viral after posting a video of themselves kicking a squatter out of one of their properties.
Anytime you have a property, the second it becomes vacant, squatters will fill in that void, and then you can't get them out. They're like termites.
A lot of times they're dealing with drugs, mental health, unemployment.
They know the housing and code enforcement laws. They know how to work the system against the homeowner.
You can't fathom the damage that can be left behind from a squatter, whether it's dead animals or damage to the property or the house burns down.
We've literally picked up a mattress and found skeletons of cats.
We had a squatter who left a dog in a cage in the yard and just disappeared. The dog died.
They're eroding the American dream that somebody can have a safe first home that they can raise their family in.
Howdy, guys.
Hi, who are you?
I'm just waiting for a walk. Is this how y'all?
This is our house.
This is not your home.
Yes, this is. This is my house. Get out.
No. Call the police.
Cops are calling now.
Okay, I gotta pick up. We were about to go pick up our lease.
He's doing the right thing. He's packing. Thank you, sir.
So you're detaining all of us so y'all get the story right?
These people are not somebody that just lost their job and they're down and out. These people are criminals.
Well, welcome, guys. So you're dealing with a current squatter right now.
Yeah, we are.
How many have you had over the years?
In 20 years, I've probably had a couple dozen max, but within the last 5 years, we had the dozen. So it's on the rise.
Yeah, there's an upswing.
Yes.
And there's an art to this. As Patty was saying, they know the law. They're working the system, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're using basically loopholes left and right, whether it's multiple attorneys or, they go put their retainer down with one guy and then go to the next guy, and they're just literally stalling for time.
And you guys believe that these are criminals, not people that are hard up and just trying to find a place that's warm and dry.
Because you can just look at their intent. Okay, so even in hers, the woman said, "I have a signed lease That means I have ownership over this property. Just because of a lease, she used that terminology, one of them. So it's just saying, hey, just because I have this fancy paper, I now have all legal rights to this property. Not I'm renting it, not I'm staying here for a week. I have all legal rights to this property.
Yeah, this was not her first rodeo.
No.
She
No.
She had done this before.
Well, as a matter of fact, when I had called the police and they were doing some investigation the very first day, the policeman said, Patty, I have to tell you, they have just been evicted out of a house literally around the corner a couple of days ago. So these are serial squatters. And in fact, you probably know this better than I do, there are squatter handbooks that one can download off of the internet. And on YouTube, there's a series of videos that you can watch to learn tricks and tips.
Yeah, let me ask y'all something. If some of this is news to y'all, raise your hand. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm glad we're talking about this, because the way you can wind up being victimized by a squatter is go out of town for the weekend. I kid you not. If they see your house vacant, they see you loading up, seriously, heading off to Wally World, they see you heading off, they can move in, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And you come back and they're waving this lease in your face, you don't live there anymore.
The longer that they're there, the more time they have to cause damage, to cause mayhem.
Yeah, we're seeing some of the damage you guys have found, which is not unlike what you found.
So this property is actually the one that Tony was almost arrested at. When we purchased the house, we thought it was vacant. And then he went and saw it, and she ended up cornering him in the house. And then same thing here. Once the cops get there, once there's some form of documentation, and it doesn't matter what that document is, once they have a piece of paper, ours in this case was a Christmas card stock. It was literally had Santa on it, and it was saying that this woman had the rights to live in the house forever for no sales price, no nothing, no considerations, and that held up for 2 years in court. It dragged us out. We lost over $250,000. We paid taxes and everything just to try to get him out. And then at the end of it all, there's no slap on the wrist. She doesn't pay any fines. We can't go after her for anything. There's nothing criminal that she has done except drag out the courts.